Okay, class. So what I'd like to do today is take some time and make sure that we understand what we're doing with the items in Lab 3. So this would be this kind of a quick overview of the end of the different things that kind of need to be in there. So on the left-hand side over here, this is my default setup. This is my go-to. This is my snapshot. And what I'm going to do is over here on the left, I'm going to leave that as 192.168.54.10 on a /24 network. And over here on the right, I want to have it ping 192.168.54.1 as the gateway. Over here on my right then, I want to come in and I want to change this to that 172 address. So I'll come in and change this. I'm going to leave it as .20. I think it has it on a /24 network as well, but I'm going to make this 172.16. I'm so used to 0 that I'm going to make it 0. You can adjust accordingly. I need to put this on the same network at that point in time. And I'll go ahead and click on OK, and OK, and OK. All right, so at this point in time, I want to do a refresh on my BG info. Make sure that I know where I'm at and what I'm doing. And then I'm going to launch two windows here on my screen. So what I want to do is I want to take this one and I want to ping over to here, and I want to take this one and ping over to here. And I want to use the /t. So I'm going to say ping 192.168.54.1, and I want to put /t. That's going to make it keep pinging, and I want to do the same thing over here. I want to say ping 16.0.1. I want to put a /t on that, and you're going to figure out why I'm doing that. Then down below, ultimately, I want to take my 192.168.54 network and I want to ping it over to my 172.16.0 network. And right now, that's not going to work. So this is going to ping my gateway, and then here, I'm going to say ping 172.16.0.20, and I'm going to do a /t on that. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. I want to ping back the other way. Ping 192.168.54.10. All right. So at this point in time, what's going on is this particular switch, this particular workstation is capable of pinging the server. That's what this is saying. And I need to check and see how many NICs I actually have in here. Right now I think I only have one, so I need to close this down. And when I shut it down, after I shut it down, I'm going to come in. I'm going to do a couple different things. I need to add another network adapter. It looks like I do have 2 in here. And I want to make this so I want to put on some new LAN segments. And I want to call one 192, and then I'm going to call the other one 172. And that means switch 192 network over through here and switch 172 the network over through here. And then I'm going to take my first network adapter and plug it into the 192 switch. While I'm at it, I'm going to plug this guy into the 192 switch. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Just while I'm thinking of it, I want to plug this guy into the 192 switch as well. Might have a little bit of an issue here. Let's see. Might have to, because I pulled this out, these two may not be communicating with one another. So I want to do to do a shutdown on this guy. Close that off, and then in here I'm going to hit, I think it's F9, and I want to start that workstation back up. And when I start it back up, I want to make sure that I plug it into the 192, and I'll start it back up. So that guy is started back up. And then over here, I want to plug this guy if I'm capable of it. If not, I'll shut it down. That's not a big deal. I'm going to plug it into the 172, and it's not there. So I want to do that as well. So this is all basic setup to make sure that I get everything where it needs to be. Okay, I'll close that off, and in this workstation right here, I need to change that, and I want to plug it into the 172 switch, and I'll start that back up. While that's starting back up, I'm going to have a look at my server. All right, so I have two NICs in here. One is plugged into the 192 switch, and I got to plug the other one into a LAN segment, and it's going to be the 172. We're going to go ahead and start that back up as well. And I'll pull this back over. Okay, so at this point in time, I want to pull those ping windows back up. I want to make sure everything, I'm starting to ping again. I have my network now configured the way that the lab manual asks. Well, almost. So I'm going to say ping 192.168.54.1, put a /t on that. I shouldn't have any problem on that one. This one I should, 172.16.0.20. I'm going to put a /t to make it keep repeating. And then over here, I'm going to say ping, whoops, up here is where I want it. Ping 172.16.0.1, put a /t on that. And then ping 192.168.54.1. I'm sorry, that's going to be 10. Put a /10 on that, or /t on that. Okay, so at this point in time, what I'm going to do is I need to come in and configure these network cards. I have one of them. I need to configure the other one. So Ethernet 0, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you can actually rename these. So I want to make sure that this is my 192. So I'm going to actually rename that to 192. Let's see here. What can I do that? Somewhere in here I can rename this. Just got to figure out where. I thought it was right here. I thought I could right click on that guy. There we go. So this will be 192 network. And then this guy over here, this is going to be 172 network. Just so I can keep things clear. I'll come in now and I'll say properties and put in what I need here. So this is going to be 172.16.0.1. Remember, this is supposed to be a /24, not a /16. So I need to change that accordingly. And then I want to put 172.16.0.1. Now if all goes well, I should see this guy start receiving, and I do. So that now tells me that everything's kind of plugged into the right things. But notice that I'm not pinging across, so there's an issue there. All right. So at this point, one of the things that I would do is I would take the time to take a snapshot. And I'm going to say pre routing, say LAN routing. I'm going to take a snapshot there. I want to take that snapshot. I want to be ready. That's kind of neat. I never noticed that. When it took a snapshot of the server, it actually suspended the server for just a second, and that's where those request timeouts came from. All right, so anyways, back to this. We want to add a role. So we'll come in and we'll say add roles and features. Next. We want to do role-based feature. We don't want to do remote service installation on server 1. And we're going to come down and we're going to look for remote access. This is going to be actually having routing and remote access. We'll click on next and we'll scroll down and make sure that everything is here. I think we're okay with what we need. I don't think, eventually you need to install these remote server administration tools, but I don't think we need to do that right now. I think we can click on next, and we can click on next, and we want to make sure that we do click on routing. That's important. All right, and next. And from there, we're going to click on next again. Accept the defaults on those. It's fine. Oh, but you do want to read them. You know, I should slow down here. You should read some of these so you understand what all you're installing, what you're doing, and it's going to tell you what each one of these things does. This is how we learn. There is so much in here. There's so many different things that are in here. While I'm waiting on that to install, I want to stress the importance of, you know, having this BG info updated appropriately so you can quickly glance and see what machine is what. Now I know I don't have it up on the server, but I also know that, you know, that's what my server is. I should do a refresh on this right now because I did set that new IP address, and there it is. It's all set. So waiting on this to install shouldn't take much longer. While I'm doing this, I want to show you how to use this really cool website that I found called Google. In Google, if you type in Windows Server 2012 R2 LAN routing, which is what we're doing here, it'll be one of the first hits. I can't tell you how slow videos are. Look at that. It's 9 minutes and 40 seconds on how to do that. 6 minutes and 48 seconds. However, if I come to enable LAN routing on TechNet, that's Microsoft's TechNet, let's look at that. Is there anything worthy? No. Let's skip to this next one. Dell support, and boom, look at that. Hey, that is really awesome. It walks you through all the steps that I just did, and you can, you know, you get to the point where this is much, much faster. All right, so we're going to click on close, and at this point in time there's not going to be anything pinging back and forth, but it says we now need to come in right here. We go to administrative tools, looking for routing and remote access. So administrative tools, routing and remote access. When we get there, we're going to right click on server 1 and we're going to say configure and enable routing and remote access. I'm going to right click on that, and it's going to walk me through what I want to do. I want to do custom configuration right here. You could always do this if you wanted, would be fine. I want to say LAN routing, finish, start service. Okay, now as soon as I start that service, some different things may pop up on different places, and that's okay. That's a good indication that something good is going on. Now notice that I still am not pinging appropriately. So we need to adjust one more thing in the firewall setting on each of these computers. So I'm going to bring up my firewall, and on inbound rules we need to come down to that ping, that allow pinging, and it's going to be on the private network. And then under scope, here's that I want to allow any IP addresses. And as soon as I adjust that, let me see, I did that for private. Let me try public and adjust that scope. Oh, I am pinging over here. Now the other thing to do is, while you're there, that's private, let's try another scope. Let's block this guy. Okay. And then I want to add a network. I want to add 192.168.54.0 and I'll hit /24, and then I also want to add 172.16.0.0/24. I want to apply on both of those, and I should still be able to get a ping over here. And it looks like I'm still getting a ping. So all I need to do over here now is come in and adjust my firewall settings here as well. And I should, over here is where I'm paying attention to at this point. As soon as I adjust my firewall settings on this one should start acting appropriately. So on inbound rules, again on the private network, I'm going to adjust the scope, and this time I'm just going to add another one. So local subnet. This is what are we over here? We're 192.168.54.54.0 network. So over here I want to add in the 172.16.0.0/24 network. And okay. Let's see if this fixes my problem. Immediately it starts to ping. So two different things to do. You know, I could say allow any IP address, but I still want to limit things. I want to be conscious. I don't want to just blow things wide open, because problems start happening if I do that. So at this point in time, I'm getting all kinds of pinging going back and forth between everything. And everything's ready to roll. Now, if I wanted, at this point in time, I could roll back to previous state and be able to start over. And I am going to do that since I showed you how to do this. So I'm going to roll back, revert to snapshot of pre-LAN. That was right before I did everything. And as soon as I roll back to that, it's only going to take a second. You're going to notice that immediately everything starts to time out. Of course, up here it's going to time out until this machine comes back. Now that machine's back, but notice how these two are not pinging each other anymore. However, this particular snapshot, if I remember, and this is why I should take more notes, I still have it set up as the 172 net and the 192 net. All right, and you could do the same thing in your settings if you want to as well. So I'm hoping this has helped everybody out, and if you have any questions, bring them up in class, or you can leave them in a comment, I suppose, and I could try to answer them, but I don't really pay attention to these once I put them up. Have a great day. Bye.